Meaning I was working with every single app and game developer who wanted to launch their app or business or game business in the region. And my role and my team's role was to help them to become more successful. So therefore, I'm here during the whole day. If you want to discuss, if you have an app or a game and you want to have insights or have questions how to grow that business, just find me and I'll have that discussion gladly. But working with these 100 app and game developers globally, and alhamdulillah, being quite successful, in 2020 I literally asked myself a question that for me was life-changing. And that question was really about, what is success? Right? And if I would randomly ask you in the room, what is success? Some people might say, it's money, it's career, it's my family, it's my deen. It's like lots of different things to different people. And I said, okay, let's just take a step back from myself and try to find it myself. And I came up and found success actually in Adhan. And it's a specific part of Adhan that you hear 5 times a day. And that specific word you actually hear twice per Adhan. So you actually hear it 10 times every single day in Hayya ala al-Falaah. Right? And then I said, okay, so what is Falaah? What does Falaah actually mean? And Falaah, I figured out asking the right people around, it's success with niyyah, with intention. So I said, okay, fine. What happens if I take that fact and convert it into taking my experiences, taking the success I've had, alhamdulillah, putting niyyah behind it, and literally try to build out of that a personal development framework, right? Where you can literally start to say, listen, you want to be successful, you want to be having falah, let's build something and base it on something that every single one of us here in this room actually knows. And I'll put the word up and then I'll ask you to raise your hand if you had one of these ever in your life, which is performance reviews. Can you just raise your hand? Anyone had a performance review before? Okay. How does it work? It's very simple. Who's in sales? Anyone in sales? Great. Very, very simple. In sales, you get a number a year, right? So your manager comes to you and tells you, listen, you need to achieve, I'll make it simple, 1.2 million pounds a year. It gets drawn down into like a monthly number, and then your manager sits down with you every month and checks where you are, right? Or you punch it into a dashboard, and based on that, cool. Your manager doesn't come to you at the end of the year. He tells you, hey, 1.2 million, where are we today? They actually sit down with you every single month. And if you're on the right trajectory, everything is great. If not, what happens? They're going to ask you, what's the plan? How are you going to fix it? Let's say your number was 100,000 a month. You're at 80,000. The manager is not going to tell you, listen, hey, you're all good, and that's it. They're going to ask you, okay, if you're at 80,000, how are you going to fill that gap? How are you going to make sure that you actually reach that $100,000? And show me your plan. And if you tell your manager, sorry, I have no plan, they're going to tell you, thank you very much, ma'as salama, you're out. Right? So you have to have a plan. So I simply built it, al-Falaah, the result of all of this thinking that I've been doing for the last couple of years, came to the conclusion like, let me launch actually Mu'adlat al-Falaah, which translates to al-Falaah formula. And that formula is simply based on the summary of it. It's a practical, faith-based formula for thriving in both deen and dunya without burning out. I try to make it, I think, very Apple stylish, as simple as possible. That's really the essence of it. That at the end, I want to be able to give you that formula, for you to understand that formula, and for me to understand it and to apply it for deen and dunya without burning out. Because again, I've seen in a lot of companies I've dealt with in my professional career, there's a lot of burnout happening. And from there, I said, okay, let me try and build this formula on very simple, straightforward elements that anyone would understand. And there are actually 7. And they look like this. It starts with faith, then with health, wealth, family, work, community, and your dreams. And again, let's go back to what Falaah is. So it's success with intention. So you have to put your intention in all of these 7 different layers. And I'll give you actually the whole structure of it, and we'll deep dive into it. And we have a good 8 minutes to do so. So I built a very simple flywheel. Flywheel is off seen, like any company, any startup has to have a certain process or a flywheel to follow. So it's exactly in that same format. And the flywheel starts with, you ask yourself a question, then you answer that question. You look at your niyyah. Do you have a niyyah for this whole thing that you're actually looking at? You look at a solution or spend a lot of time finding a solution. You execute it, you track it, and you review it. Simple flywheel. Question, answer, niyyah, solution, execution, tracking, and review. And I actually have prepared 10 real-life examples that I want to share. I want to give you my personal view on them, but then I also want you, and we have enough time, I want you to raise your hand if you have any question, happy to answer them, and to go through these examples together. So first one, and that's something I personally went through, your prayers. So question that I asked myself, do I pray? Yes, alhamdulillah, check, that's the answer. The niyyah is Jannah, perfect. And let's try to go a level deeper on the prayer part. Do you pray on time? My answer was no. So, okay, question, do I pray on time? Answer is no, not always. What's my niyyah? I want to pray on time so that I become better during my prayers because it's something you should be doing. How do I fix it? What's a potential solution to fix prayer on time? What I personally did is I put an icon, like a calendar, in my work calendar. At 1 o'clock I do Dhuhr prayer. At 4 o'clock I do Asr prayer for 15 minutes. Very simple. Because again, if you look at how you're scheduled and how you do your work and your startups and all the things you work on, it's in your calendar. So it's a 15-minute block at 1 o'clock to 1:15 for me to go make wudu, do my prayers, and come back. So if someone tells me, listen, let's have a meeting at 1 o'clock, I said, sorry, they actually wouldn't be able to block it because they're like occupied for 15 minutes. So it's a very simple example of how I personally was able to make sure I pray on time. So that's the solution. I started to implement it. I started to execute it. I had a very simple tracker that was telling me whether this was actually working. And I reviewed it, alhamdulillah, I fixed it, done. Next one, are you praying fard or jama'ah? Meaning you're praying alone or jama'ah? And someone told me this very interesting, 1 + 1 = 2, right? But for us Muslims, 1 + 1 equals? Who said other number? 27, which is the thawab you get when you pray jama'ah, right? So it's like, okay, let me pray jama'ah. So I'm in a workplace. I have a couple of Muslim friends around me. Guys, how can we actually pray together? Simply by taking that same iCal that you created and you share it with them. Done. So everyone would have a 1 o'clock Dhuhr and a 4 o'clock Asr prayer for 15 minutes. And that's really the whole flywheel, that you take a topic. For me, it was prayer. You ask your questions and don't just be very superficial on top. Really try to go as deep as you need to. But then you try to find a way that fits your thought process and lifestyle and structure in order to fix it. And once you fix it, you can track it, you can build around it, and you can start to build the things you want to become better at. Make sense? So who's going to implement this today? Cool. Done. Great. That's all I wanted. If just one person raised their hand, alhamdulillah, I'm happy. Good. So that's prayer. I did the same thing and asked myself the same questions for Hajj. How many of you have done Hajj? So that's maybe 30%, 40% of the room. So we have 60%, again, not judging, 60% who have not done Hajj. I asked myself that question in 2022. Have I done Hajj? No, I haven't. Then why? One second. Hajj is all about man istata'a ilayhi sabila, which means you have to have the money, you have to have the health. These are the two conditions, nothing else. And Hajj every year becomes more expensive, and unfortunately our health becomes lesser. So the gap of you doing Hajj is expanding year by year by year. That's one thing. Unfortunately also, from a society perspective, I'm Egyptian. If you tell someone I'm going to do my Hajj in my 40s or 30s, people are going to say, it's too early. It's like, what? Like, it has nothing to do with age. So from a community and society perspective, Hajj is unfortunately linked to age, which shouldn't be the case. So again, same flywheel. Have I done Hajj? No. How can I fix it? It needs some money. Okay, let me save up. How much does it need? We found the right providers. We went through it, executed, came back, great experience, done. Would I love to do Hajj again? Yes, but in a later time. But again, I'll take the same flywheel. So that's Hajj as an example. Salat Rahim, which means what in English? Salat Rahim? Sorry? Ties, exactly. So your ties to your family. Question, and be very, very honest. When was the last time you called your uncle on the phone? Or your aunt? Like just, hey, salam alaikum, alaikum salam, hayar ammo. Great to talk to you. How's the family? All good. Hope you're well. Do you need anything? Thank you. Ma salama. Check. I wasn't doing that consistently. So, Salat al-Rahim, the importance from a religious perspective is massive. Question, are you doing Salat Rahim? Answer was no. My niyyah is it strengthens the family ties. How do I fix it? Every Friday after Salat Jum'ah, I have half an hour, a list of people I need to talk to for 5 minutes. Full stop. And something very interesting happens. Once you do this, at the end of the call, if you call your aunt, for example, or your uncle, or your cousin, or whoever, they're going to make dua for you. And then subhanAllah, something that normally should not happen, and should not be resolved, and should not function, suddenly is fixed because of that dua. So Silat Rahim, very, very important and easy to do. Health, same question again. When was the last time you went to a doctor? We all go to doctors when we're sick. No, please go to the doctor once every 6 months. Or do your medical once a year. Do your blood work. Look at how can you make sure that your health becomes better. Are you going to a psychiatrist? How's your mental health? How's your sleep? Are you tracking your sleep? Anyone has these Whoop things? Tracks your sleep and tells you, listen, your sleep quality, it's super, super important because on average you should be sleeping anything from 6 to 8 hours. I do 6.5, 7, which is a third or like a fourth of your day. And you're not tracking it. It's such an important thing to track. Same thing with health. Then it becomes net worth. Very interesting, this point. What are your assets and liabilities? If I would ask you like, hey, do you know your net worth today? 90% plus of people I meet and ask that question, no clue. What do you mean, like assets and liabilities? How many times have you heard that someone has passed away and their family has no clue what they own? Papers got lost, they did this investment no one has any clue about. So, question, does my family know my net worth? That's a question I asked myself. Answer was no, let me fix it. How? I did a full Excel sheet, my assets, my liabilities, and my wife and I, we go through this once a month for her to know. And for me to know also the other way around, what's her net worth. And then you have a common goal, like, hey, we want our net worth to double, to triple, to 10x in the next 10 years. Please do it. Because as a Muslim, and I'll get that, I think it's important for us to have a high net worth, and I'll get to that. Parents, question, when was the last time you took your father for lunch? Or your mother to see her friends? Like, what? No, I'm married, I have kids, I have my wife, we see them on the weekend. No, forget that. When was the last time you told your dad, listen, Baba, I'm going to take you to see your friends and I'm going to invite you to dinner? He's going to tell you, listen, that's a horrible idea, like please don't do it. He's going to tell you, mashallah, amazing, let's do it. And what will happen, you're going to have a great time doing that. So don't forget your parents, don't forget that they made you who you are today. Please make some time and effort for that. And again, it's the same flywheel, so it's very simple. And then your co-founder. And with co-founder, I don't mean your startup co-founder, it's your life co-founder. Who's your life co-founder? Your wife. Like, are you setting up enough time for your wife? Not again for the kids. Are you going through, like, what's your date night? And when? And is that structured? And do you know what she likes and doesn't like? All these details, just literally take any topic you want, write all the questions you have, and just go through them in that flywheel. And then a very important part, your business network. I'll give you that Excel sheet later on, but hey, I've been maintaining an Excel sheet for over 20 years that has over 18,000 contacts in them. It's a very simple Excel sheet. First name, last name, title, company, industry, city, country, where did I meet that person, how well do I know them, and what's their network. And if you do this consistently, it's super simple to understand. Let's say I'm coming to London, I want to see people, I sort it by city London, and it comes up, 500 people come up. Out of the 500, I know 50 very well. I send them one email, guys, I'm in London for a week, let's catch up. Done. Let's say you want to go to Mecca. How many people do you know in Mecca? Same thing. You don't have to think. Go into that Excel sheet. It's a simple exercise, but it compounds drastically. And if you do this consistently, I did this Excel sheet every single day for 5 minutes. But what happens is then, if there's a massive saying, a quote that your network is your net worth, I can tell you if you do this, 100%. Because then you can really look at what your network is and what their actually net worth is. Same thing with your friends. Look at them through who they are, where they are they supporting you, are they not supporting you? And then what is your retirement plan? You know this typical HR question like, hey, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I want to challenge you is like, where do you see yourself in 20 years? Where do you want to retire? And what do you want to do while you retire? So again, lots of different things. And then just going to close with a question or with the fact that I found out a couple of months back. But did you know that 60%, 60 of al-ashar mubashirin bil Jannah were millionaires? 6 out of 10. Which means 0.0001 of the Muslim population of al-Ummah, which is the 10 people, were millionaires. 6 of them. Not just any multi-millionaires. They were trading, so taking that into consideration, why can't we be great Muslims and great entrepreneurs? This is really what the Falaah formula is all about. And thank you very much for having me. 3 things I want to just close with. Make sure to know what your niyyah is and make that clear for every single thing that you do on a day to day. Number 2, plan for everything with niyyah. So, and I wouldn't ask you what's your dream, I would ask you what's your plan, and have a plan. Take time to sit down and write up this plan. And then don't forget to plan your vision, your goals, and most importantly, go execute it on all aspects. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, so that's the QR code to do that. And we're going to start to do a lot of different content around the Falaah formula starting July. It's going to be also on LinkedIn, but it's going to go out on TikTok, on Snapchat and Instagram, Facebook, and other platforms. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for having me. And if you have any questions, happy to take them throughout the day. Thank you. Shukran.